community, you need to try to bring them back. Love them, help them. That's what you should be doing. So if I were Vladimir Putin, I can go and preach from the book of Romans and justify all my actions. It's possible. If I were Hitler, I can still go and preach. Hitler was a socialist and a Christian. And I can preach from Galatians and justify everything that I did. It is possible. That is how these people are using the Bible without the spirit of the Bible in it. So they would say to Manoj, you have sin inside you. You look at Los Angeles, you look at Las Vegas, and you say they are indulging in homosexualities, adulteries, and drugs, and various kinds of evil things. Don't you get these kind of dreams? If you are getting these kind of dreams, then you are also equal to them. Did Jesus equate these things? That is how they read the Sermon on the Mount. Jesus was actually criticizing the Pharisees for bringing these kind of equivalences. Jesus was saying, you say that if somebody does idol worship, he is idol worshipper. If somebody eats with an idol worshipper, he is also an idol worshipper. Now let me extend the other side of the law, which would affect you more than these tax collectors. Because you are the people who are calling others fools all the time in anger. If I equate calling others fools in anger with murder, how would you feel? But Jesus was not going to equate it. He was telling a hyperbole that if I were to extend the law, would any of you survive? Would any of you have the claim that I am a righteous person? No. If I were to say that just by thinking lustfully in your heart and mind, you have become an adulterer, would you accept that? No. In the same way, you shouldn't extend the Sabbath laws and extend the idol worshipping laws to an extent that the Pharisees and sinners and tax collectors who are outside of your group cannot bear. Now, Jesus was actually doing what I am doing in a sense, and Jesus was actually criticizing these kind of false equivalences. And people have taken it literally, and they say that if you have so exactly what Pharisees did with Moses' law, these today's Pharisees are doing with Jesus' law. They take it out of its context and they take it to such an extent that hyperbole needs to be obeyed perfectly. So Manoj, you are also doing the same sins as Vladimir Putin or Hitler were doing. You are also a murderer. And you are also doing the same sins as the people in Las Vegas are doing. You are also an adulterer. So I cannot say anything further. I have to say, yes, we are all saved by grace. God is gracious and God has forgiven them. God has forgiven me also. So they can continue their violence and justify it. My dear friend, murder is never equal to anger. Real adultery is never equal to having an adulterous thought in your heart. If you have an adulterous thought in your heart, it is called temptation. And the Bible clearly distinguishes between sins that you do and the temptations that you get in your mind, in your brain, in your heart. Those things are not sins. God is not going to punish you for thinking lustfully about a woman. God is not going to punish you for watching a murder movie. You are thinking about murder, watching a murder movie. God is not going to say you are a murderer because you watched a murder in the movie. Or you imagined a murder while writing a story. My dear friend, God will punish you if you do murder. If you sanction these kind of killings that are happening between Christian people, God will be angry with you. God will punish you. God will punish you if you do real homosexuality, if you really do adultery. Then God will be angry. Even Jesus was tempted. Jesus wanted to jump from a tall, very high place, very high building, the mountain where the Jewish people temple was there. The devil said to Jesus, jump from here, angels will protect you. But Jesus didn't jump. Why? If Jesus obeyed the devil, he would definitely be sinning. He would be testing God. But the thought itself, the temptation itself, did not make Jesus sinner. Nobody says Jesus was a sinner. If Jesus is a sinner, then we have no rescue. Jesus became angry with the Pharisees and he called them fools publicly. So going by Jesus' words in Matthew 5, where Jesus said, if you call somebody a fool in anger, you would be roasted in hell. Jesus himself must be going to hell and be roasted there. But we know that what Jesus said in Matthew 5 was a hyperbole and not to be obeyed literally. And we know it very clearly from Jesus' actions in Matthew 23. Jesus himself became angry at the Pharisees, who are his friends and contemporaries, and he called out their lies and follies and everything, and then he called them fools. Jesus didn't mean Matthew 5 hyperboles on adultery and anger to be obeyed literally. If these things were to be obeyed literally, then Jesus himself has failed to do it regarding anger. And if you break one command, it's equal to breaking the whole law. And if you go by it, Jesus himself becomes sinner. But Jesus is not a sinner. Jesus is a remedy for sin, and we all know it. So how do we understand this matter? It is very simple. Jesus was correcting the Pharisees using these hyperboles and telling them that what they are using against tax collectors and sinners is a fallacy. They are using false equivalence by equating idol worship with just eating with idol worshippers. Jesus was offering a corrective. And the same corrective that Jesus offered, people are using it in the way Pharisees used Moses' laws. And that is when they would say that, Manoj, you are also doing the same sin. You are also murdering people. You are also doing adultery, because it is happening in your mind. My dear friend, if it is happening in your mind, it is called temptation. It's not sin. There is a difference between temptation and sin. It's when you do it that you become accountable for it. If you do an adulterous thing, if you kill somebody literally, then you become a murderer or an adulterer. That is the truth. Otherwise, these kind of people will escape. They will say, we are not killing anybody. Other people are killing other people. And we are just sanctioning the wars. And we are like you. You also get same murderous thoughts. You also get same adulterous thoughts. We also get it. So why will God judge us? But we know in our conscience that an ordinary people getting murderous thoughts or adulterous thoughts is not equal to a person who goes and sanctions bloody wars and kills a lot of people for their own selfish gain. And we all know that whatever is happening in Las Vegas is not equal to what is happening in your head, in your mind. Maybe at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock when you get an erection, if you are a male. My dear friend, let me tell you, Jesus is not going to be fooled by our interpretations of the world and the word. You cannot fool God for a long time. And you cannot fool a lot of people always, for all time. The world can see what Christians have done, what Christians do, how Christians live, and what is happening. It's all before us. If you want to save Christianity, instead of trying to save Hindus from Hinduism and making them Christian, you first save Christians from this violent version of Christianity, whatever you call it, which kills people, which does adultery and justifies it. And then you go and preach to others, they would also want to join you and believe. God bless you. Have a great day.